Hi, everybody. I wanted to come to you and talk about something that I've noticed in some sessions I've had, that there might be parts of us that don't actually want us to get better. And I wanted to talk about that today. So I'm going to wait for some people to jump on this live. Let me know if you are here or if you're watching the recording of this. Please let me know that you're here. What I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to share this into a couple places before we get started. But as you're jumping on, please let me know that you're here. Hi, Sean. Hi, Joe. Hi, Mattis. Hi, Rayo. Hi, Donald. That's a very good question, Donald, and I'm actually going to address that. So what I was just kind of saying when I hopped on here is that there can sometimes be parts of us that quite literally don't care about other aspects of ourselves, that don't actually want us to get better. And I've noticed a theme of that lately. So I really want to address that. And I want to kind of shed some light on what to do if you encounter that, or even just to spread the awareness that it exists in the first place. So hi, Erin. Hi, Priscilla. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Rayo. So I'm going to start talking about this in just a sec. I'm just going to share this into, I think, into Teal Tribe and also into the completion process community. And then we will go ahead and get started. Hi, Priscilla. So for those of you that are here with me right now, have you ever felt into a part of you that quite literally did not want you to get better? Or quite literally did not care if you did or didn't? Take a second to reflect on that and to really feel if you feel that that might even be true for you in this moment, or if it's been true for you in the past. And I'm just going to share this in one last spot. Donald says, haha, yes, I feel this. I used to be so used to beating myself up. I think fear kills parts of us. It is up to us to literally fight for the life we desire. I still get what you're saying. Okay, let me just post this in here, and then I'm going to let you guys know what kind of brought me to want to have this conversation. Okay, perfect. Hi, Amanda. Okay, awesome. So I had a couple clients today, and from the ones today and the few that I've had in the last week, something I've really been running into is aspects of us that quite literally don't care. So to kind of give you guys a story of the most recent instance I ran into this with somebody. Hi, Scott. Hi, Gerardo. Is with wanting to heal something physically in the body, that there's been an ailment that we just wanted to access and to really figure out, what's going on with it. Why is it reacting the way that it's reacting? So just let's say, for example, that what we were going into was the face, right? Let's say that we wanted to figure out like why the face just kept having all these different reactions, why it kept breaking out, why is it like basically fighting us and not working with us. What we can do, if you don't already know, for anybody that's watching this, is you can actually access any part of you, whether it's physical or whatever, and really talk to the consciousness that is that part of you and learn from it and get to know it better, figure out what it might be needing from you, figuring out what it's experiencing, and kind of take it from there to learn more about it. So that was something that we were going to be doing, right? But sometimes what happens is we might have a goal of wanting to access, let me use some crystals. Let's say that we want to access this. This is our ultimate goal. This is going to be the physical part of our body in this instance that we want to access, which is the face, right? So this is us right here. And what we want to do is we want to get to this space to get to understand what's going on with this part of us, right? So we're here and the face is here. So we determine that our goal is to get here. So what we're going to attempt to do is to access this part of us. But even though we might be seeing nothing in the way between these two things, there actually might be a hell of a lot of things in the way on the way over here. So what we discovered in this session that was, I'm going to put this down over here. Imagine that this is just over here. Imagine that on our way over here, this comes up and gets in the way of us trying to move forward. this is what happened in my session. So what this represents that came up out of nowhere because we didn't see it at first was this aspect that actually does not care to find out what's going on with our face. This aspect does not care what's going on here. So this is an aspect of us that actually doesn't want us to find out what the real problem is. This is the aspect of us that doesn't want us to discover what's at the root of our pain. And this was a huge realization for this person because she's like, well, I came into obviously wanting to do this work to figuring out like what's going on here. But what I'm running up into now is this part of me that actually doesn't care if I find that out. So what ended up having to happen is we had to really jump into the reality of that. Because when you realize that a part of you doesn't actually care to heal, or that a part of you doesn't care to get better, I think we're automatically going to go to a place of, number one, shame, like something's wrong with me because this is happening. And then another part of us is going to go into judgment of like, this should not be happening. So we're going to be creating suffering as a result because what we think is happening shouldn't be happening. We should care, but we don't. So the first important thing to do if this happens, if you run into this yourselves, and to kind of share what happened during this session, is that you need to really jump into the acceptance of this is my reality right now. My reality is that I have a part of me that doesn't care if I get better. My reality is that I have an aspect of me that doesn't want me to see this pain or to understand it at all. This part of me actually doesn't even want me to care that it doesn't care. That was the next layer that we ran into. So what we had to really do was really go into the acceptance and just understanding that this is the case. This is where we are right now. Part of me does not care if this heals at all. In fact, the part of me that doesn't care is actually keeping me from seeing what the underlying causes of this pain that I've been experiencing in my day-to-day life. So when we tried to go here and then this came up in the way, this is our indication that we need to really look at this and figure this out first before we even have access to this. So if you've been following my demonstration, this will make sense. But know that this is going to be available as a replay to watch if you want to understand my demonstration with the crystals a little bit more. But essentially that means that this is what we're primarily needing to deal with because this is what came up along the way with trying to reach our initial destination of what we were trying to learn or to heal, right? So what this is the part of us that doesn't want us to, the part of us that doesn't care. And what we need to do in that moment is really need to caretake the part of you that doesn't care. So what we need to do in order to do that is to not need that part of you to be any different than how it is. And that's going to be, kind of either a big pill to swallow. It is not easy to let a part of you literally not care about another part of you. So what we need to do is we need to give the permission to this part of you to be that way, knowing that it doesn't care for very good reason, that there's a very good underlying reason as to why it's feeling this way. And that we need to understand that it doesn't just feel this way for no reason at all. So what we need to do is we need to be okay with this part of us not caring, essentially. And that might sound counterproductive, but what we're essentially doing is we're giving this part of you space and permission to be exactly where it is without, being with it with the expectation of it needing to be different. So when you give it that space to feel how it feels and to be as it is, what you're going to watch is a transformation take place. So this is something that I really want to also point out is that when we're doing this type of work, what we're expecting of ourselves is such quick healing and such like A to Z overnight transformation. And we need to understand that it's not always going to look that way and that we kind of have to throw those kind of expectations out of the window when it comes to doing this kind of work. So what this ended up looking like through the entire session is just we spent almost the entire session being able to find the acceptance for this part of us that doesn't care if this other part gets better or not. So by being with that part of that, of her basically and my client that didn't want to get better, by being able to be okay with that and to give this part of her permission, this part of her was able to kind of shift a little bit. So what we ended up on as a final note for this session is a shift in change in vibration. And what that shift in vibration was going from a space of, I don't care. Nothing can make me care. Nothing you do can make me care. By virtue of being okay with that aspect feeling that way, this aspect of her organically moved into a space at the end of, I'm open to considering caring. I'm open to perhaps seeing what it could be like to maybe want to find out more about this. And what ended up happening is that aspect, as we kind of anthropomorphized it and gave it an appearance, at the end of our session, gave her a hug, and it was beautiful. So that was a huge, gargantuan shift internally. We went from a space of not caring if we get better or not wanting our pain to be understood or changed or resolved or integrated to a space of being open to wanting it to. So that's a huge vibration. It's like one end of the spectrum, right? So one end of the spectrum is I don't care at all, I don't give a crap at all, to I'm open to perhaps giving a crap. I'm open to learning how to have compassion. I'm open to learning how to look at this. Those are huge differences. So what we need to understand is that we're not always going to get from this dramatic point A to point B in a one single 2-hour session or whatever it might be, that we're going to be on a journey, that we're in a process, and that these things take time. And if we can get from that kind of a point to the point of being open, that is a huge change in mindset, is a huge shift in your point of attraction, and that is something tangible that you can work with moving forward to cultivate that compassion. And here's the thing, when you actually go in and you do this work, you're increasing your level of awareness. And awareness, my friends, is the first agent for change. Without knowing that that's even there, how can you do anything with it? How can you move forward? How can you find that initial resolution that you came into the experience with until you discover that these aspects of you exist, that these aspects that have needs, that these aspects need presence, and these aspects need you. And not just for an hour and a half. They need you moving forward through this life together with you. So I look forward to exploring this even more with this person and allowing her to become open to finding out what that could be like to care, and eventually moving into that space and closing that vibrational gap. And once we get to that point, then we can move even forward through the deeper layers of the onion, right? We can move even further and further and get to even more of what's underlying in the first place. So I thought that was a beautiful experience that we had together, and I wanted to give people permission to let it be a journey and to let it be a process and to really take a look at what our expectations are, and also just kind of a lesson in like non-judgment, because if we feel that way, then we feel that way for good reason, and we need to let ourselves feel that way. We need to not run away from it. So I wanted to share that with everybody, and I hope that was helpful in some way for everybody that has been here and, you know, heard everything that I said. But like I mentioned before, you can definitely go back and watch this as a replay once I hop off here. But it just felt really inspired to share this with everyone and to give you permission to let your own healing be a process and to be a journey. And that I'm here for anyone that might need support in that. To please reach out to me, hop on a free call with me, send me a message. Please let me know if I can be there for you in any way. And that if anybody has questions or any comments at all, feel free to drop them right now. I think I'm caught up with them right now, and I don't see any particular questions, but know that I'm going to be paying attention to them as I hop off here. And thank you guys so much for being with me and watching this with me. And we're all in this together. We are all here doing the same exact thing. So I think it's so important that we share our wins or even just the stuff that we're in pain with, because you know what? By us being vulnerable and sharing that with somebody else, that gives somebody else that's seeing it permission to be where they are. And that is so huge and essential in moving forward. So I thank you guys so much. Feel free to watch the replay if you didn't catch the whole thing, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.